I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
In 1961, this guy, JFK, President of the USA, set a goal to get America to the moon by the end of the 1960s. To achieve this goal, NASA launched the Apollo program. On July 16, 1969, at 9:32 a.m. UTC time, Neil Armstrong, the commander, Michael Collins, command module pilot, and Edwin or Buzz Aldrin, lunar module pilot, lifted off into space on Apollo 11.
20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11. Tower cleared.
Here we got a roll program.
Neil Armstrong reporting the roll and pitch program, which puts Apollo 11 on proper heading.
About 4 days later, on July 20, 1969, in the evening, UTC time, they are about to land on the moon.
Landed.
Stand by.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming. Okay, I just checked getting back up to that first step. That isn't collapsed too far, but it's adequate to get back up.
Roger, we copy.
It's a pretty good little jump. I'm at the foot of the ladder. The LEM footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. I'm going to step off the LEM. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
These are the footsteps that completely define space travel. Apollo 11, it completed JFK's goal to get America to the moon. And basically humans, the first man on the moon. Neil Armstrong, isn't that special? What a defining moment. And after that, the entire crew of Apollo 11 returned to Earth safely. One of the things people don't know is how long it took and all the lead-up missions to get to the moon. Apollo had many lead-up missions before they got to the moon. Apollos 1 to 10, none of them made it, but they tested out components for the lunar landing, the command module, and much more. The first Apollo mission, Apollo 1, was meant to test the command module in Earth's orbit. Unfortunately, during a pad test where the ship used its own power, a fire broke out under the commander's seat. The source was a spark. Unfortunately, during the fire, all 3 crew members died.
Apollo astronauts Roger Chaffee, Edward White, and Gus Grissom lose their lives in a tragic flash fire aboard their grounded space capsule. The tragedy occurred during a simulated countdown for the first flight of the Apollo program, whose goal is to put a man on the moon by 1970. Grissom and White were veterans of spaceflight. Chaffee, a rookie. During a drill similar to this, the entire three-man crew was engulfed by flames. A blue-ribbon panel of space experts is investigating, aided by impounded NASA films and tape recordings. Grissom was one of the 7 original astronauts. White was America's first spacewalker. Chaffee, never in space, had long experience as a jet test pilot. He was proud and happy that his first flight was to initiate the Apollo program. When the tragedy struck, one of the astronauts shouted, "Fire in the spacecraft!" In a few seconds, all 3 were victims of the swift inferno which left the capsule a blackened shell. One reporter said it looked like the inside of a furnace. Investigators theorize that perhaps a short circuit or electrical overload may have sparked the blaze. 27 would-be rescuers were all overcome by smoke and heat. Apollo astronauts Chaffee, White, and Grissom, martyred heroes who gave their lives in total dedication to duty. Their memory will forever be honored.
Because of this fire, they had to completely pick up the pieces and figure out what went wrong. It was grueling. Nearly 2 years later, they had completely redesigned the command module so this wouldn't happen again. Apollo 7 completes Apollo 1's mission, basically. It manages to get the command module into Earth's orbit and gets it home. Then Apollo 8 circled the moon and then came home. And Apollo 9 tested the lunar landing module in Earth's atmosphere. And Apollo 10 tested the lunar landing module above the moon, just above. And then Apollo 11 landed on the moon. After Apollo 11, Apollo continued on to do 5 more missions. Apollo 12, Apollo 13, Apollo 14, Apollo 15, Apollo 16 and Apollo 17. But that was it. Why did it finish? There were 3 more scheduled missions, Apollo 18, 19 and 20. Why was that it? Why did it finish there? There could have been several contributing factors. There was a feeling that after losing a crew on Apollo 1 and nearly losing a crew to Apollo 13, that if another crew was lost, the program will be cancelled entirely. That was it. Over. And basically, the public lost interest. NASA had received a budget cut from Congress. America had lost interest in the moon. Anyway, JFK's goal had been achieved, and there were more serious matters, like the Vietnamese War. There was much more than that. In 1 year, they only received $14 million of their $2.039 billion request for their Apollo funding. So really, the main reason for its demise was a lack of funding and public interest. So what did NASA do after Apollo? What did they do with some of the technology, like their 7V rocket? After Apollo, NASA made an experimental space station, Skylab. Really, one of the main reasons they did this was to prove people could stay in space for long periods of time. It was launched into Earth's orbit on May 14, 1973 by the 7V rocket used on the Apollo program. To finish off, it's been nearly 39 years since we were last on the moon. Will we ever go back? Maybe. NASA is at work making a rocket that will take us to Earth's orbit, back to the moon, and a manned mission to Mars. Constellations is the program, so look out for any developments of us going back to the moon. Well, that's all we have time for. Bye bye.